This is a brief summary of a Chinese drama that will save you 20 hours. The story begins with Chaman standing alone on a balcony overlooking the city. His mind is heavy with sorrow, his heart weighed down by the collapse of a relationship he had thought was destined to last forever. His fiancée Hijin had abandoned him at the last possible moment, citing his appearance as inadequate and unworthy of her expectations. The rejection cuts him deeper than any physical wound ever could. In that instant, the world seems to lose all color, all warmth, all hope. The despair becomes unbearable, and Chaman contemplates ending his own life. As he takes a step forward toward the edge, fear mingles with desperation. His breath quickens, heart pounding violently in his chest. His instinct screams at him to retreat, to cling to the fragile thread of life. But before he can fully regain his balance, his foot slips on the slick surface, leaving him dangling perilously from the side of the building. His grip weakens as terror courses through every fiber of his being. At that moment, Seun, his longtime friend and confidant, calls him. The phone vibrates against the concrete railing and Chaman struggles to reach it. Finally, with trembling hands, he answers, his voice barely a whisper, "Save me, please." On the other end, Seun hears his plea and, believing it to be an exaggeration, initially dismisses it. Her tone is light, almost teasing. "Don't be ridiculous, we'll talk later," she says, but Chaman's desperate voice cuts through her skepticism. "Don't hang up, I'm about to die, and it's all because of you. If you hadn't introduced me to Hijin, if you had only returned my feelings, none of this would have happened." Suddenly, a blinding light descends from the sky, a celestial force that seems unreal. A shooting star, radiant and ethereal, sweeps toward him. The light engulfs him completely, and in that moment his grip fails, sending him plummeting from the building. Seun, distracted by something on her end of the line, hangs up, unaware of the fatal consequences. Chaman's life ends abruptly, leaving a void in the lives of those who cared for him. Meanwhile, Seun is shown immersed in her work as a prosecutor. She is investigating a chilling murder case, the death of a young boy whose body has been mutilated in a highly distinctive way. The case draws the attention of her colleague Jiwook, who expresses his desire to handle it himself. He speculates that the crime bears the hallmarks of a serial killer, noting the identical stitching patterns on the victims' bodies. A doctor named Yang Cho emerges in the narrative, a man whose involvement in similar crimes raises questions. His meticulous stitching techniques mirror those seen at the crime scenes, drawing suspicion. But the focus then returns to Chaman, whose spirit hovers between worlds. Two alien beings, previously responsible for an accidental collision with Chaman, arrive to correct the unintended consequences of their actions. They explain to him that his life can be restored through the abyss, a mysterious force capable of reviving the dead, but with one condition: his appearance will change. When Chaman sees his reflection in the mirror after being resurrected, he is astonished. His features are sharper, more handsome, more imposing. Overwhelmed by the transformation, he performs exaggerated gestures in front of the mirror, delighting in the novelty of his new identity. One of the aliens, observing his behavior, remarks that he seems to have suffered some mental confusion from the previous accident. They hand him the abyss, emphasizing the responsibility to use it wisely. Soon after, Chaman's mother and aunt arrive, worried and unsuspecting of the recent events. To conceal his true identity, Chaman introduces himself as a friend of his former self. Questions are asked about Chaman's whereabouts, and explanations are quickly improvised. He overhears his mother speaking on the phone, mentioning a business matter involving Mr. Chang. Instantly, Chaman realizes an opportunity to thwart Mr. Chang's plans, recalling secrets he had never known before. Chaman's personal mission grows more complicated when Hijin disappears, leaving him no way to confront her. He attempts to call her multiple times, only to meet silence in return. Meanwhile, Seun remains resolute in her work, refusing to drop the ongoing investigation despite Jiwook's pressure. At one point, she glances at a photograph of Chaman and mutters with unmistakable distaste, "I don't like this boy," unaware that fate will soon intertwine their paths more tightly than ever. Outside the police station, the father of the murdered boy protests vehemently, demanding justice. Chaman, now navigating life with his new face, calls Seun. As she walks through the streets, she notices a suspicious figure near her car and instinctively reacts. She twists the intruder's arm with precise force, causing him to stumble. When she sees the face of the person she subdued, she freezes. It is Chaman, drenched in sweat and water, his toned physique momentarily exposed. Seun quickly tries to shield him with a poster, but a passing worker tears it away, revealing his body to an astonished crowd. The poster is hastily replaced, but the incident leaves Chaman self-conscious and draws unwanted attention. In the midst of this chaos, Chaman learns Hijin's location and rushes to confront her. Mistakenly, he identifies another woman as Hijin, a woman consulting a doctor about plastic surgery, but the mix-up quickly becomes evident. Meanwhile, Seun and Jiwook attempt to interrogate Yang Cho, but he is evasive and busy. Another figure, Gimin, is revealed to be obsessively documenting revenge plans in his diary, hinting at a deeper, darker plot. Chaman, learning that Seun had been drinking earlier, brings medicine to her, hoping to care for her as he once would have. Seun, distracted by her surroundings, accidentally falls while retrieving her belongings from an elderly man, and the man helps her up. Simultaneously, Chaman discovers a dead man lying on the street and realizes the abyss he possesses could revive him. Hesitant at first, he sets the mysterious device aside, unsure of its limits. Later, the abyss autonomously activates, guided by an unseen force, bringing the body back to life once he arranges for the authorities to arrive. That night, Seun leaves her main gate unlocked for Chaman to enter, but a broken phone prevents him from reading her message. Believing she has gone to sleep, he leaves a hangover remedy and departs. Unknown to him, someone is watching Seun, an ominous presence lurking in the shadows. When Chaman arrives at Seun's house the following morning, he discovers her lifeless body. Overcome with grief, he weeps uncontrollably, blaming himself for being outside when the fatal event occurred. His aunt notices the blood-soaked clothes and panics. Police arrive to apprehend him, but he narrowly escapes, now a fugitive in shock, with the media labeling him the prime suspect. Chaman struggles with feelings of helplessness, yet he remains determined to find Hijin and clear his name. In his solitude, he speaks to the abyss, pleading for Seun's life one final time. His prayers seem unanswered as she remains unresponsive. Frustration and anger bubble within him, directed at the aliens responsible for his resurrection. Suddenly, a woman appears, unfamiliar yet startlingly recognizable. It is Seun, but her appearance has changed. Witnessing her own body being taken away, she cries out, asserting that she is still alive. Chaman reassures her, explaining that he has brought her back using the abyss. Skeptical, Seun doubts his words until he recounts personal memories from their past, the countless times he had proposed to her, the rejections he endured, and the depth of his affection. Slowly, she begins to accept the truth. Questions arise. How did Chaman become so handsome? How did she survive when her body had been declared dead? Chaman explains the nature of the abyss. It restores life with a new body, the soul intact but the physical form renewed. Even after understanding, Seun is hesitant to trust him, seeking validation from Jiwook. Her attempts are dismissed as confusion. He calls her Mido, the name of her former identity, deepening her struggle to reconcile memory with reality. Gradually, Seun recalls fragmented moments from her near-death, the pain and terror she endured, and the grief of those around her. Chaman ensures her safety, bringing her to a doctor who confirms her well-being. During this time, everyday life continues in the background. Nurses comment on the striking appearance of Chaman. Seun marvels at her own new form, and Chaman feels the weight of both responsibility and relief. As they begin investigating together, they uncover hidden connections. The serial killer who murdered Seun's colleagues, Gimin's obsessive diaries, and the dark truths behind Yang Cho and Yang Kal. The two navigate perilous encounters, misunderstandings, and threats from both criminals and authorities. Through it all, their bond deepens. Seun begins to trust Chaman, recognizing his unwavering commitment, while Chaman learns to navigate his newfound life with careful strategy, courage, and emotional vulnerability. Amidst investigations, confrontations, and near misses, the pair confront past traumas and present dangers, gradually piecing together the mysteries surrounding murder, resurrection, and betrayal. Their relationship evolves, anchored in loyalty, trust, and shared danger. From the depths of despair, tragedy, and supernatural interference, Chaman and Seun form a unique partnership, navigating life and death, love and loss, all while challenging fate itself. Gimin stood at his daughter's grave, his hands trembling, his heart a storm of emotions he could barely control. Relief coursed through him as he thought that Yang Kal, the man who had haunted his life and destroyed so many, was finally gone. A grim satisfaction settled in his chest as he muttered to himself, his voice a mixture of triumph and grief. The killer is dead. I've finally avenged you, and now I am coming for you. But before he could finish his thought, a shadow moved beside him. Chaman appeared, firm and resolute, blocking Gimin's path. Without a word, he took hold of him and guided him away from the grave, his presence commanding yet calm. Gimin, dazed and uncertain, felt the weight of Chaman's eyes on him, probing and unwavering. "Did you kill Seun?" Chaman asked, his voice low but firm, carrying the gravity of someone who had witnessed too much pain. Meanwhile, Yang Kal had ensnared Hijin, keeping her captive in a location shrouded in shadows. The truth behind his identity and his sinister deeds remained hidden from most, yet Jiwook, ever vigilant, discovered that the man claiming to be Yang Kal's father had long been dead. Outside the house, police officers maintained a cautious perimeter, alert to any sudden movement. Inside, Yang Kal asserted in a cold, measured tone, "My son is innocent," though the cracks in his composure betrayed the truth he hoped to hide. Seun, ever tenacious, joined forces with a detective whose curiosity was piqued by her determination. "Why are you so intent on uncovering the connections between Gimin and Yang Kal?" he asked. Seun, confident yet strategic, replied, "If I solve this case, my credibility will rise, my career will advance faster. This is not just about justice, it's about proving my capability." Persuaded by her resolve, the detective agreed to assist. At the hospital, Chaman, knowing the importance of swift action, captured a photo of Gemin and sent it to Seun. A nurse witnessing the scene snapped a picture of Chaman as well, capturing a fleeting moment of human vulnerability amid chaos. Yang-kal soon appeared at the hospital, and moments later Seun and the detective arrived, piecing together the fragments of the unfolding drama. CCTV footage revealed that Gemin had been taken by someone. Chaman immediately recognized the pattern. Yang-kal has taken him, he said, his eyes narrowing with determination. Flashbacks revealed chilling confessions. Gemin had told Chaman in confidence, "I only killed Yang-kal, Yang-kal killed Seun." Reality and memory collided, clarifying the tangled web of crime. Now in the present, Yang-kal transported Gemin at an alarming pace. Seun pursued in a car, weaving through traffic with skilled precision, adrenaline sharpening every sense. "You'll get us killed today," the detective shouted. Chaman's voice cut through the tension, calm but forceful. "You think we have multiple lives, but if both of us fall, their advantage vanishes entirely." The chase unveiled another shocking truth. Yang-kal had committed another murder, leaving fingerprints that provided undeniable proof of his atrocities. Gemin, regaining consciousness mid-conflict, struggled against his captor, prompting a fierce confrontation. Yang-kal stabbed him, blood staining the ground, his malevolence unrestrained. Seun, Chaman, and the detective arrived in time to witness the chaos, their presence adding pressure to the unfolding drama. Gemin, weakened, fainted before he could speak further. Chaman's gaze caught sight of Hijin and he sprinted toward her, his every step filled with urgency and fear. Seun followed closely, her determination unwavering despite the danger surrounding them. Meanwhile, Juwook apprehended Yang-kal. "You can't catch me," Yang-kal sneered, his words laced with malice. "Because my blood runs in your veins, you will never understand me." Chaman, constrained by his own limitations, was unable to reach Hijin in time. The unfolding chaos revealed a deeper truth. Juwook had been injured and clarified. It was not Yang-kal, it was his father who attacked Gemin. Only Gemin could identify Yang-kal. Seun's concern deepened as she processed this revelation. Chaman searched tirelessly for Hijin, with Seun aiding him, scanning every corner and alley, every shadowed street. Hijin arrived at the police station, falsely accusing Chaman of murdering Seun. She claimed, "Seun introduced me to Chaman." But Chaman always loved Seun. "We were in a relationship, but Seun always stood between us. Chaman had an unattractive face, that's why I broke off the marriage, and before Seun's death he came to meet me, he even had Seun's bracelet." Seun's doubt flickered. Could Chaman truly be the person he claimed to be? She stepped back, refusing to speak to him, unsure of what to believe. Chaman attempted to confront Hijin, seeking answers, while the startling disappearance of Seun's body added further tension. Seun, asserting herself, presented a knife to Chaman. "Kill me just as you did before," she demanded, testing the limits of his resolve. Chaman flung the knife aside, incredulous. "What madness are you speaking? And why didn't you tell me about Hijin?" Yet Seun shut the gate, leaving the conflict unresolved. Following day, Seun still refused to believe Chaman's identity. Determined to uncover the truth, she took his fingerprints and verified them, finally confirming that he was indeed the real Chaman. Anger and frustration bubbled within him. "I saved your life, answered every question, yet you still don't trust me." Seun, practical and wary, speculated on the implications. "This means Yang-kal will also be resurrected. His appearance may change, but his fingerprint will remain identical." Hijin, manipulated and terrified, demanded on television, "Chaman, confess your crime for the sake of our child." Chaman prepared to leave, but Seun intervened, insisting, "How can you prove your innocence if you don't first prove that you are truly Chaman?" He resolved, "I will use the abyss to kill myself and you will bring me back to life with it." A struggle ensued, tension crackling as they clashed physically and mentally. The detective arrived, bewildered, unable to perceive the abyss, asking, "What are you two doing? There's nothing in your hands." Meanwhile, Chaman's mother's health deteriorated as she fretted over her son's safety. Chaman pursued Hijin, intent on protecting her from the threats surrounding her. Seun, pragmatic yet emotionally tethered to him, cautioned, "Why do you trust her every word? The child may not even be yours." Chaman's reply was firm, tinged with hurt. "I trusted you, but you doubted me." It was revealed that Yang-kal had coerced Hijin's mother, threatening her life to manipulate events. Hijin, oblivious to the full truth of his identity, unknowingly followed orders that furthered Yang-kal's sinister aims. Police pinpointed her location and Seun commandeered a delivery scooter to reach Chaman, warning, "Hijin has disclosed her location to all the police. You must move carefully." Chaman refused to abandon her, determined to wait for her despite the danger. In a cruel twist, Yang-kal struck Hijin with a vehicle. Chaman immediately used the abyss to revive her, knowing that its power could only operate with a physical body. Seun witnessed these events and the detective observed their strategic maneuvers. Chaman ensured Hijin's safety at a hospital, only to discover that she had fabricated a pregnancy, adding yet another layer of deception to the unfolding chaos. Chaman brought Hijin to Seun's residence, fearing further threats. Seun objected, but Chaman reassured her. Only Gemin could identify Yang-kal correctly and he is currently unconscious. I will deal with him and use the abyss to ensure he cannot harm anyone else. Seun, frustrated yet understanding the stakes, agreed and directed Hijin to remain in the house until the situation stabilized. Chaman confronted Gemin but hesitated, unable to commit violence. Yang Kal appeared, masquerading as a doctor, and claimed that Gemin would soon die. In a moment of desperation, Chaman pushed him, causing the abyss to fall, revealing its presence to Yang Kal. Recognizing the object, he understood Chaman's capabilities. Seun arrived at the hospital to find Gemin alive, confirming that Chaman had indeed used the abyss. Yang Kal administered a lethal injection to Chaman, who resisted but was ultimately incapacitated. As Chaman succumbed to his injuries, he entrusted the abyss to Seun. Confused and overwhelmed, Seun read the inscriptions on the device. The abyss passes to whoever is revived next, granting temporary ownership. Chaman's sacrifice left her powerless as the abyss departed, leaving her in tears. Hijin, desperate and disoriented, discarded her malfunctioning phone, only to be rescued by Chaman's mother, who confronted and physically reprimanded her before ensuring her safety. Police discovered Chaman's seemingly lifeless body, leading to further confusion. Seun realized the truth: the dead body was not Chaman's. Yang Kal, upon encountering the abyss, recognized its power and took possession of it, hiding it alongside a deceased woman in his washroom. Detective Dong, investigating Seun's case, attempted to close it, believing the prime suspect had died. Seun intervened, insisting that the body was not Chaman's, and repeatedly verified fingerprints, confirming the real Chaman's identity. She explained that someone had deliberately created a body resembling Chaman to mislead the authorities, complicating the investigation. Seun and Detective Dong worked meticulously, reconstructing events and ensuring the case remained open. At the crime scene, Chaman's fingerprints and Yang Kal's blood were discovered, revealing the killer's culpability. Seun's aunt reminded her of Hijin's previous visits, triggering memories of near-death experiences that allowed her to perceive the abyss. Hijin experienced vivid, traumatic dreams of abuse, and Seun comforted her, explaining, "I am Seun. You are alive because Chaman revived you with the abyss, but now the abyss is with the killer and Chaman is dead." The abyss moved autonomously, its presence visible only to those who had encountered it before. Yang Kal attempted to navigate its power, while Seun and Hijin searched diligently, following CCTV footage to track its movements. A landlady stumbled upon a corpse only to be killed by Yang Kal. The abyss revived her, startling Yang Kal, and Seun and Hijin traced the sequence, realizing the killer's desperation. As news of Chaman's death spread, Seun persuaded authorities to suppress the report, buying critical time. The abyss glowed and moved independently, drawing Yang Kal's attention. Hijin recognized the danger and revealed her coerced deception. Past traumas were confronted. Yang Kal had abused her family, manipulating events from the shadows. Seun devised a plan, using Hijin's appearance to lure the detective and ensure Yang Kal's capture. At the hospital, the abyss illuminated Chaman's body. Upon seeing him, life surged through him once more. Seun prayed silently for the plan to succeed. Chaman awoke, bewildered by the changes, believing he had become a girl. Seun reassured him, explaining the entire plan and the workings of the abyss. Chaman confirmed its uniqueness, acknowledging its transformative and restorative powers. Yang Kal attempted to deceive the detective, escaping by locking down the hospital. Amid the chaos, Chaman ensured Seun's comfort, allowing her to rest after days of exhaustion. The detective verified Yang Kal's identity, realizing the full scope of his crimes. Chaman's mother, witnessing her son alive, fainted in shock, only to be supported by Chaman himself. The detective struggled to comprehend the reality before him, confirming that Chaman was indeed alive and innocent, while Yang Kal was the true perpetrator. Seun experienced harrowing dreams of the murder, while Chaman confronted his workplace, asserting authority over decisions made in his absence. Hijin's fake pregnancy was revealed, and her manipulation by Yang Kal came to light. Connections between past and present murders, abuses, and the abyss's interventions were clarified. Together, Chaman and Seun navigated the aftermath, ensuring justice, safety, and closure for the survivors, while confronting the moral and emotional complexities of resurrection, identity, and vengeance. Seun leaned closer to the detective, her expression troubled but resolute as she recounted a strange encounter from earlier. "An elderly man told me that at the time of the murder he saw a boy leaving Seun's house," she explained, her voice low, tinged with disbelief and frustration. The detective frowned, trying to process her words. "That's impossible," he replied with certainty. "At night, visibility is poor. That old man may not have seen clearly." Yang Chil himself insisted he did not kill Seun. He even claimed that Seun was not dead. Seun's eyes narrowed as she weighed the possibility. The detective's calm tone did little to ease the unease curling in her chest. Meanwhile, Hijin approached Seun cautiously, her face heavy with guilt. "I need to apologize," she murmured, her voice barely audible. Seun's expression hardened. "Because of your actions, my parents barely survived. You told Yang Chil I was alive," she accused, a mixture of anger and fear mingling in her words. Hijin winced, knowing she had no defense strong enough to soothe the hurt. In that moment, Chaman stepped forward quietly, observing the tension between them, and explained with gentle authority that he was Seun's stepfather. Seun blinked, absorbing the revelation, her mind racing to connect the dots she had missed all this time. Seun turned to Hijin, her tones slightly softer but still firm. "You should meet him directly, ask him what you need to know, and don't leave anything unsaid." Determined to uncover the truth, she set up a hidden camera, positioning it to capture everything that might unfold during their next encounter with Yang Chil. When Hijin finally confronted Yang Chil, the air grew tense. "Where is my mother?" she demanded, her voice trembling yet assertive. Yang Chil's eyes glinted with malicious amusement. "I do not act alone," he admitted. "Your mother will be upstairs, but only under my command. Do you really believe you are in control here? Whose side are you on truly?" His words were calculated to instill doubt and fear, and Hijin's stomach churned as she realized the depth of his manipulation. In the midst of these tense developments, the detective had dressed meticulously for dinner, hoping for a brief respite from the chaos consuming their lives. As he sat at the table, a young woman approached, introducing herself with a casual, almost playful tone. "You don't recognize me, but I am Midu." The detective, skeptical and slightly irritated, dismissed her as delusional, walking away to continue with his plans. Seun joined him shortly after, sharing a quiet, tense dinner. "Do not misunderstand," she clarified firmly. "This is not a rekindling of any past relationship. This is strictly professional." The detective's heart sank at her words, but he respected her boundaries. Meanwhile, Hijin worked quietly to delete all evidence of her conversations with Yang Chil about her mother. Listening carefully to the remaining audio, Seun and Chaman deduced that Yang Chil must have had at least one more accomplice involved in his sinister plans. Chaman's mind raced as he instructed Hijin to locate his mother quickly, knowing that Yang Chil was on the move. Seun attempted to retrieve the dash camera for evidence, only to discover that Juwok had already taken possession of it. She quickly realized that he had been reviewing the footage, likely piecing together critical information. As a mysterious girl approached to assist Juwok, he acknowledged her with a subtle nod, a silent thank you for her timely help. Chaman had called Seun to his office, seeking a private conversation. When she arrived, she crossed her arms and remarked sharply, "Are you the only one busy here?" irritation lacing her voice. She turned to leave, but Chaman moved quickly, attempting to calm her, and in the rush he stumbled slightly, brushing against her by accident. Observers nearby took note, their whispers quietly rippling through the room. Seun, flustered and annoyed, left, leaving Chaman's mother watching keenly from a distance. "That lawyer is always around Chaman," she murmured to herself. "We need to investigate her background." Once Juwok departed, Seun and Chaman returned to his office to devise a plan. She installed a hidden camera in anticipation of Yang Chil's next move. As she opened his laptop, the presence of his assistant forced her to remain concealed, careful not to reveal herself. Once the assistant stepped away, Seun reviewed the critical recording, copying the file for further analysis. Together, the group watched the footage and realized the shocking truth. Hijin's mother was being held in an area dense with jungle, isolated and vulnerable, a perfect place for someone to hide a captive out of sight. Determined to rescue her, they rushed to the hospital where they had been told she might be kept. The reception staff, however, refused to provide any information. Undeterred, Seun, Chaman and Hijin scoured every corner only to discover that she had already been moved. Spotting a car, they pursued it, their urgency growing with each passing moment. It became apparent that Juwok had orchestrated the relocation. The chase ended in terror when the vehicle suddenly disappeared, only to reappear moments later, launching into the air and exploding. Hijin collapsed into tears, overcome by fear for her mother's safety. The police arrived soon after but found no trace of a body. Elsewhere, a distressed woman had taken Juwok's mother home, explaining that grief had driven her into a fragile state of mind. Meanwhile, Yang Chil tested the power of Abyss in a gruesome demonstration, killing a man and laughing as he watched him resurrect, the dark thrill of control lighting his eyes. Juwok, pained and conflicted, stared at a family photograph he kept hidden in a box. Flashbacks revealed a chilling conversation where Yang Chil had instructed him to relocate Hijin's mother. "If you want to remain the chairman's son," Yang Chil had said, "you will follow my orders." Juwok had resisted, but the threat to his status was impossible to ignore. Hijin, desperate for her mother's safety, received a message demanding Seun's location in exchange for her mother's life. At the same time, the real Midu was expelled from her office, but she quickly contacted the detective, who dismissed the call as a wrong number. She then ordered access via a fingerprint scanner. When Seun arrived at the office, she encountered the real Midu, and their tense confrontation escalated until guards intervened. Chaman intervened as well, using financial leverage to ensure Midu remained silent, protecting Seun from any further manipulation. The team continued their investigation, piecing together the events that had unfolded and strategizing how to confront Yang Chil and his accomplices. Seun discovered a hidden connection between the killer and Midu, realizing that the dangerous web of deceit extended further than they had imagined. In the meantime, Chaman ensured Hijin and her mother were safely hidden in his guest house, revealing a secret room that even his own mother did not know about. Seun was astonished, realizing the depth of Chaman's foresight and care. He explained that anyone his mother disliked was kept there for safety, highlighting his protective nature. As they continued to untangle the complicated chain of events, Chaman shared memories of his father, who had once remarked on Seun's character, noting that she would recognize true worth in a man. Chaman's eyes filled with tears as he recounted standing beside his father during his final moments, a memory that underscored his enduring sense of duty and love. In the present, he expressed regret that he could not bring his father back to life, but gratitude that he had been able to save Seun repeatedly. Seun's emotions swirled as she examined a small box containing chocolates she had once given to Chaman on Valentine's Day. Their conversation veered between playful banter and heartfelt revelations, reinforcing the deep bond they shared. At one point, Seun accidentally triggered a secret door, leading to an encounter with Auntie, who quickly left after hearing their conversation, preserving the secrecy of Chaman's hidden room. During lunch, Auntie explained that this secret space was rarely accessed and that Seun being brought there indicated Chaman's special regard for her. Seun's heart swelled with happiness, realizing the depth of his affection. In these moments, their lives, fraught with danger, deceit, and extraordinary events, were beginning to stabilize. Chaman and Seun's relationship grew stronger through trials, misunderstandings, and perilous adventures. Each revelation, each close call, and each shared memory served to knit them closer together, forming a bond resilient to the threats of Yang Chil, the manipulations of Midu, and the ever-present shadow of death and resurrection. The ongoing mysteries, from the hidden truth of Abyss to the machinations of their enemies, demanded their constant vigilance. Yet through it all, their connection remained a source of strength and hope. Through strategy, courage, and unyielding resolve, Seun, Chaman, Hijin, and their allies steadily unraveled the complex web of deceit surrounding them. They faced treachery, danger, and moral ambiguity, but each challenge strengthened their understanding of truth, loyalty, and the fragile, precious nature of life. With every step forward, they inched closer to justice, the rescue of loved ones, and the restoration of peace in a world that had been upended by darkness, betrayal, and the unpredictable power of Abyss. Mido had made up her mind. She was resigning from her job. Seun, hearing this, reacted immediately, a mix of exasperation and desperation in her tone. "Don't do that," she said firmly, grabbing Mido's arm. "If you leave, I'll be unemployed overnight. How am I supposed to survive without you?" The plea in her voice revealed how much she depended on her friend, not just professionally but emotionally as well. Meanwhile, Hijin's mother, watching a television program featuring a young tour guide, was overcome with emotion and began to cry quietly, memories of the past stirring within her. Seun glanced at her, concerned but unsure of what to say, while Chaman returned G-Man's diary to its rightful owner, the pages filled with details that could change the course of their ongoing investigations. Elsewhere, Yang Chil was being transported under heavy guard. The tension was palpable as he was brought to Seun's home, a place that had become a nexus for truth, vengeance, and revelation. Once inside, Yang Chil began recounting his crimes, the way he had tried to kill Seun, and his twisted satisfaction in the chaos he had caused. Anger erupted in the room. Seun's father, unable to restrain himself, lunged at Yang Chil and struck him repeatedly, fury etched on every line of his face. The atmosphere was thick with rage, each word from Yang Chil igniting further outrage. At one point, Yang Chil requested to use the restroom. He was escorted there, but he did not return. Concerned, an officer entered the room and discovered that foam was bubbling from Yang Chil's mouth. Panic spread as they realized something was seriously wrong. Amid the chaos, a female officer suggested removing him discreetly through a back exit, taking him into her car to prevent public spectacle. The shocking revelation came soon after. This officer was the same receptionist who had previously interacted with Yang Chil. The foam was not poison, it was detergent and bleach she had arranged to administer while he was in custody, a precise act of retribution for the abuse she had suffered in the past. Yang Chil's survival had once been ensured by the same man, and now she had returned the favor in a complex act of justice. Despite this setback, Yang Chil was already scheming. His mind, sharp and twisted, plotted future moves that could wreak havoc on everyone connected to him. Meanwhile, Hijin's mother, a figure of grace and understated authority, presented Chaman with a flower. "You are so handsome," she said warmly. "To me, you are my prince." Seun, observing the gesture, felt a pang of jealousy flare within her. She shot back, teasing and possessive, "No, he's only mine." The playful exchange eased some of the tension, and Hijin's mother excused herself, leaving the two alone. Chaman seized the opportunity to gently tease Seun before leading her to his secret room, a sanctuary unknown even to his mother. There, they immersed themselves in music, laughter, and light-hearted companionship, a brief respite from the dark world waiting outside. However, their moments of freedom were constantly interrupted. Chaman's mother appeared unexpectedly, and Seun urged him to leave, but he refused. "She must never know about this room," he whispered firmly. Seun insisted she needed to go to the washroom, and just as they were about to make a move, Chaman's mother received a phone call and remained seated, talking. Both Seun and Chaman grew restless, aware of the narrow margin for secrecy. As soon as she departed, Seun seized the moment to slip away, claiming she was going for a walk, leaving Chaman to receive a call from the detective warning him that Yang Chil had escaped. Chaman immediately attempted to locate Seun, but she, absorbed in music, did not hear him. His gaze fell upon the ominous sight of abyss approaching, signaling imminent danger. Yang Chil was returning, intent on finishing what he had started. Just then a stone flew through the air, striking Yang Chil. It was Hijin's mother, risking everything to protect Seun. Chaman quickly guided Seun to safety while instructing Hijin to reveal any hidden truths. Reluctantly, Hijin admitted that her mother had found her, and she had changed, strengthened by the hope of reunification. Night fell, and Seun, restless and worried, attempted to leave Chaman's side multiple times. Each time he gently ushered her back, insisting she rest beside him. He intended to kiss her when a sudden interruption occurred. A guard arrived, reporting that a blood-stained stone had been discovered in the garden. Outside, Hijin tried to help her mother remember her contact information, but confusion remained and she mistakenly wrote another number. Hijin corrected her mother, emphasizing that she, not anyone else, should be contacted in emergencies. The detective, investigating the stone, confirmed that it bore both Yang Chil's and Hijin's mother's blood, escalating the tension to life-threatening levels. Hijin, fearing for her mother, hurried to remove her from danger. The detective offered them refuge, insisting they stay at his place to ensure their safety. Mido arrived during this period, but the detective prevented her from staying, prioritizing the protection of Hijin and her mother. During a tense phone call, Hijin's mother reached out to Taejun, who was in fact Jiwook, but he did not respond, recalling the past trauma and survival strategies. Hijin explained to Seun that Taejun had been her brother, someone who had protected them from Yang Chil's brutal beatings many years ago. Amidst these personal dramas, Chaman recruited Seun as his assistant, placing her close to him to ensure her safety and involvement in ongoing investigations. The attention of surrounding girls highlighted Chaman's presence, which Seun found slightly irritating. Meanwhile, Chaman's mother attempted to propose a union between Chaman and Mido's family, but Mido's parents resisted due to her connection with Detective Dong. Bribes and confrontations ensued, with tempers flaring and alliances tested. Hijin's mother wandered out to the washroom during the night, becoming lost in the process. A man encountered her and, recognizing her, called Jiwook, who promptly intervened. Seun, upon discovering that her parents were at the farmhouse, felt immense relief. However, Jiwook had disabled her mother's phone, given her something to drink, and transported her into Yang Chil's custody. The chaos escalated rapidly as past memories surfaced. Yang Chil's abuse during childhood, Jiwook's protective instincts, and the complex familial betrayals that had shaped their lives. During a violent confrontation, Hijin's mother instinctively protected young Jiwook from Yang Chil's assault, evoking memories of their shared childhood suffering. Police arrived at the scene just as Hijin's mother was found unconscious and Jiwook, injured, fled in a vehicle, carrying with him the weight of survival and vengeance. Seun noticed footprints at the scene, a subtle clue that further complicated the investigation. Flashbacks illuminated the trauma Jiwook had endured as a child, witnessing his father's violence and being forced to navigate a treacherous path of deception, all while living as the chairman's son. In the present, Seun discovered additional DNA evidence, confirming the involvement of multiple individuals, including the receptionist and Yang Chil, in the broader conspiracy. Hijin revealed the truth about Taejun, confirming that he was Yang Chil's biological son but a protector in their lives nonetheless. Seun carefully transported Hijin and Jiwook home to rest, staying close at the hospital to ensure their safety. Tensions remained high, with Jiwook confronting past failures and plotting the next steps in a dangerous game of life, death, and resurrection. The storyline continued to interweave moments of intense suspense with intimate human drama, Seun and Chaman's growing closeness, Hijin's determination to protect her mother, and the relentless threat of Yang Chil. Strategies were formed, alliances tested, and risks taken to confront evil forces while safeguarding loved ones. Even amidst the chaos, there were moments of tenderness. confessions of love, shared laughter, and quiet reflection on the fragility and resilience of life. Eventually, Chaman led Seun to a secret sanctuary, a place of safety and revelation, where she expressed gratitude for the chance to live and love after her near-death experiences. Their shared history, from school days to the present, culminated in declarations of affection, kisses, and a promise to face future challenges together. Yet even as personal happiness blossomed, the shadow of Yang Chil and his schemes loomed over them, ensuring that vigilance remained essential. The narrative then shifted to the ongoing operations against G-Man, the chairman's machinations, and the careful manipulation of evidence. Each revelation built upon the last, showcasing the intricate interplay between justice, revenge, and survival. Hijin took decisive action, using the abyss strategically to thwart Yang Chil's plan, demonstrating courage and intelligence honed through years of hardship. Meanwhile, Seun and Chaman coordinated efforts to safeguard allies and confront adversaries, the delicate balance of risk and strategy governing every choice. Through danger, deception, and the ever-present threat of violence, the characters navigated a world where life and death, loyalty and betrayal were constantly intertwined. Bonds were tested, secrets revealed, and justice slowly advanced, with Seun, Chaman, Hijin, and their allies demonstrating courage, compassion, and ingenuity at every turn. Mido was hard at work, diligently organizing files and taking notes when the detective approached her desk. At first, his request seemed innocuous. He asked her to hand him a glass of water and then moments later a tissue. Mido, already feeling the strain of a long day, frowned at the repeated interruptions. "Do you really have to keep bothering me?" she said, a hint of irritation creeping into her voice. The detective, undeterred, called her name once more. That was the final straw. Mido's patience snapped, and in a flurry of frustration, she struck him lightly on the shoulder. He did not retaliate. Instead, he smiled, calm and earnest, and spoke softly. "Once Xiao's case is fully resolved, I want us to be together. I want us to get married." He reached into his pocket and produced a simple, elegant ring. Mido blinked, overwhelmed by surprise and emotion. Tears welled up in her eyes as she whispered, "Are you serious?" The detective's lips curved into a gentle smile, and he cautioned lightly, "Don't cry. If you start crying, I might take it back." Hearing this, Mido's feelings surged all at once. She leaned forward impulsively and pressed her lips against his, a mix of joy, relief, and defiance mingling in the kiss. On the other side of town, a different kind of social tension was unfolding. A cheerful young woman had invited Chaman to join the group for lunch, and once seated, she strategically positioned herself between him and Seun. Chaman glanced at Seun, silently seeking a reaction, but she remained absorbed in her meal, seemingly unaffected. After eating, Chaman leaned towards Seun, teasing gently, "That girl was right between us, sharing food with me. Did it bother you at all?" Seun shook her head with feigned indifference, a small smirk tugging at her lips. "Not at all. I am the most beautiful Seun. Nothing or no one can shake me." Their playful banter was interrupted when the girl returned with snacks for Chaman. In response, Chaman began to eat with deliberate slowness, clearly trying to spark a twinge of jealousy in Seun. He then called Seun over, pretending that the snacks were for her as well. "Oh no," he said dramatically, "she brought these only for me. Sharing is overrated anyway." The girl laughed and promised to bring more next time. Seun, feeling a surge of competitive pride, exited the scene just long enough for Chaman to deliver coffee to the girl, accompanied by a small note reading, "Mr. Chaman already has a girlfriend. She is the most beautiful prosecutor. Please do not try to charm him." Chaman laughed quietly, realizing Seun had orchestrated the message. Moments later, he brought the coffee to Seun and she questioned him with mock indignation. "Why are you giving it to me? Didn't she deserve it?" Chaman handed it over, and their private amusement was interrupted by a new case, this one involving Jemin. Seun and Chaman visited Jemin, listening intently as he spoke. Seun's sharp instincts quickly discerned that someone was manipulating him, and that the man presenting himself as the victim's lawyer was actually deceiving them. "You are a liar," she declared, demanding his credentials. The man stammered and fled, leaving Seun and Chaman to pursue him to his office. Inside, Seun confronted him with authority, flashing her card and identifying herself as a prosecutor. The man, nervously claiming that client confidentiality prevented him from revealing information, attempted to mislead them. Seun, undeterred, sketched a rough portrait of the man he was protecting. Chaman watched quietly, skeptical. "How are we supposed to find him with just that?" he asked. "I've ensured he can't lie convincingly through the sketch," Seun replied confidently. This sketch would later connect Jiwook, who was actually Taejun, to events involving Ye Chul. Meanwhile, the chairman sought to protect his reputation, suggesting that Jiwook go abroad. Jiwook refused, insisting on shared responsibility with the chairman. Hijin, fearful of approaching her mother's body, retreated, leaving Seun to navigate the unsettling scene alone. But Jiwook abducted Hijin, complicating matters further. Seun received a message from her, saying she intended to rest, and immediately informed Chaman that they would restore Hijin's mother to life following the autopsy. Unbeknownst to them, Jiwook intercepted the communication and removed Hijin's mother's body. taking control of the situation. Seun was rendered unconscious, locked inside a storage container amidst a labyrinth of cold, metallic boxes. From her confined vantage point, she witnessed Juwook discard the body into the water, ensuring Chaemin could not use the abyss to revive her. Locked in the car, Hijin awaited rescue. Chaemin, determined and resourceful, arrived on the scene and confronted Juwook, demanding Seun's release. In a tense exchange, Juwook admitted that if he perished, Seun would die as well, moments before collapsing. Chaemin, acting swiftly, rescued Seun from the frigid container. Police arrived shortly thereafter, but Juwook had vanished, leaving Hijin to explain her involvement. Flashbacks revealed Chaemin's previous encounters with Juwook, where repeated confrontations had ended with the use of the abyss to revive him, though he remained uncooperative until compelled by Chaemin. The present moment was fraught with reflection. Chaemin acknowledged that reviving Juwook was a mistake, but he could not allow anyone to die needlessly. Laboratory tests confirmed that no human blood remained at the scene. Juwook had cleverly substituted hydroxide to destroy evidence. With Juwook's true identity revealed, Chaemin, aided by his mother, publicized the truth. Juwook was not the chairman's son, but rather Yang Cheol's. Reporters swarmed, questioning the chairman, while Jaemin arrived to observe the unfolding drama. An assistant delivered a box to Seun containing Juwook's childhood photographs, adding another layer to the complex web of familial deception. Juwook demanded the chairman cooperate quietly if he wished to protect his true son. As the day progressed, Seun, exhausted from the chaos, fell asleep at her desk. Chaemin, ever protective, carried her to bed and prepared breakfast the next morning. Together, they shared a tranquil journey to Seun's parents' home. Her mother, startled by Seun's transformation, commented on how much he had changed in such a short time. Chaemin arranged a birthday cake for his father, and the two families celebrated warmly. In a playful moment, Seun thanked Chaemin with a kiss, and the family reveled in a shared sense of relief and joy. Meanwhile, the investigation continued. Juwook eluded authorities despite their efforts to trace the scissor used to tamper with Seun's body, evidence they carefully preserved. Chaemin and Seun, using strategic disguises, observed Juwook at his residence, narrowly avoiding detection. Eventually, an arrest warrant was issued, and Juwook was caught while attempting to interact with the chairman, revealing his true heritage in a bold confrontation. Amid these tense developments, Chaemin and Seun carved out moments of peace, wearing matching shirts and sharing playful meals. They laughed over ice cream mishaps, created a time capsule, and explored amusement parks, cherishing small joys despite the lingering dangers surrounding them. Even when Juwook intervened violently, threatening Seun, Chaemin protected her using the abyss, showcasing their unbreakable bond. A critical confrontation left Seun fatally injured, but Chaemin revived her with the abyss. As the mystical energy faded, he slowly disappeared, leaving Seun to grieve and recover in the hospital. Through an audio recording, she discovered Chaemin's promise to return, reinforcing her hope and resolve. Time passed, and 3 years later, Seun had resumed working with Mido, witnessing the marriage of Mido and the detective. Abyss, ever present, accompanied Seun in her daily life, a constant reminder of Chaemin's sacrifice and love. One day, while on a solitary date, Seun's ice cream fell and Chaemin appeared suddenly, apologizing for his delayed return. Overcome with emotion, Seun embraced him, tears flowing freely. They celebrated their reunion, reflected on the trials they had endured, and prepared for a life together. Finally, Seun discovered she was pregnant, marking a new chapter filled with hope. They admired the tiny clothes in the time capsule, imagining the future joy awaiting their family. In this way, after countless trials, betrayals, and near-death experiences, the characters found resolution, love, and peace. Seun and Chaemin's story, intertwined with mystery, danger, and supernatural intrigue, concluded on a profoundly happy note, filled with family, romance, and the enduring strength of their bonds. The next episode is already ready. Subscribe so you don't miss it.